All right, we will now move forward to approval of minutes for the November 12th, 2019 regular school committee meeting.
Motion to receive and approve. Second.
All right, roll call vote?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Approval of bills.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant A, number 4347, in the amount of $35,151.86, subject to audit.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Yes.
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 I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant B, number 4348, in the amount of $637,266.36, subject to audit.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move forward to continued business. MSBA Higgins project, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right now, I honestly do not have any new update as far as the progress of the project. We're still working towards the closeout. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you. FY20 budget updates, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought I would request tonight I'm going to make a motion for transparency. As you know, at the conference at MSBA, MASC, his initials, they had a training on budget transparency for districts, and it was really very informative. And I think there were some things that we could do right away that I'd like to ask for tonight. One of the first would be that we put our current budget online with a link on our website so that people are able to look at that budget with the accompanying discussion that went along with it. I believe it would be the document that we presented to the City Council. And I think that that would be helpful for going forward so that people can understand where we're coming from when we start our budget discussions. When we have our budget discussions, generally people are hearing about the budget for the first time. But through the year, we do have all kinds of financial presentations. I know we're coming up we should be putting up our quarterly report soon. That's going to come through. And it is a years-long discussion, but people don't know about that until they actually hear the budget discussions. A very interesting piece of that coursework, the people running it were from the state, and they were from the Mass Association of School Business Officers. And they did a very quick survey of the room. The room was packed. I'd say there were about 100 people in the room. And they asked, when do you have your budget discussions? And they asked, do you have them throughout the year? And a certain percentage of the people raised their hand. And then they said, do you only discuss the budget when you're in budget negotiations? The majority of people raised their hands for that one. So then they said, how many in the room were superintendents? The superintendents were the people who raised their hand and felt that the budget was discussed throughout the year. And the school committee members were the very same people who had felt that the only time there was real discussion of the budget was at the end of the year when we were all making those tough decisions on what to keep, what had to be cut, how to balance the budget. So it was another example of where good transparency would help us, in my opinion, and in the opinion of these people who really are trained on this, of going forward and making sure that we are working on that throughout the year up until we approve the budget. And that you do need to have the linkages with our school plans and with the district plan. And this is actually something that came up in our comprehensive review too, making sure that we have transparency. So I would like to make a motion tonight that our current budget be placed on our website for the to easily access it. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Dunn, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mr. Hockman?
Through you to Ms. Dunn, are you seeking to have the entire budget, including salary lines, put on the website?
I would say whatever we had presented as our public budget should go on, it should go on, online, and I can't honestly say what the final product was that went to the city council. I know we had that information. I was very pleased to have it. That was the first time I've ever seen that in all of the years that I've been serving, and it did help to make a difference in the discussions. If it's public information, I believe there's no problem with putting it out there. But I don't know if that was in the document that we submitted to the city council for their use, and at the moment, I'm just looking for the one we sent to the city council. I think that that's a good way to start. With our future budget, the next budget, I think we should discuss how we want to put that out, but I'll be advocating to put that online too, once it's approved, just so people are able to look at that.
Mr. Nico?
Thank you. Through the chair to committee. Ms. Dunn, I agree with you about the transparency. My only concern would be is I'd like to run it through our legal department in case of some line items in regards to security, dollars spent in certain places. I think that's, the money is public, but what we do with it is really not, because it's a security issue. So I'd like to run that through our legal department if we could. But I would support that.
So would you want to potentially hold this just until we get check off from legal, or take the vote and then go from there?
We can get a check off from legal, we're fine with that.
Okay, great.
Because I know it'll take a little while to get it up online anyway.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you.
Oh, there is a motion.
Oh, so you want to, okay. We'll take a roll call.
Thank you.
Can I please understand what the motion is?
The motion is to put the school department budget for the 1920 school year online on the school department website, pending a review by the legal department as far as the security issues, and also with an answer as far as whether the salaries were included in that document. So,
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. Nico?
Yes.
Ms. Dunn?
yes.
Thank you. Welch School feasibility appropriation, Mrs. Dunn.
Moving forward, full steam ahead. We have a very tight schedule with advertising. We'll be seeking the services of an owner's project manager, and this is all part of the MSBA process, and we're in that process at the moment. So you'll hear a bit more, probably end of December, beginning of January.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. All right, Planet Aid, Mr. Hockman.
I think we have a presentation by Bay State Textiles tonight, so why don't we wait for that? Although didn't intend for this to be to get as much attention as it apparently has. I don't have anything really in particular against Bay State Textiles. I just thought that, well, let's hear from Bay State Textiles and hear what they have to say, and we could take it up at that point.
Okay. Should we write them down? Okay, we are now going to move forward to public participation.
Bay State Textiles.
Do that first? We can do that first. Yeah, you know what, yeah, let's do that first. We'll take you just a quick out of order. No, go right ahead.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Hi, Carrie.
Well, thank you guys for having us here tonight. So Terry from Bay State Textiles.
Could you speak in? That's okay.
Terry from Bay State Textiles. Terry from Bay State Textiles.
Wait, who are you?
So thank you for having us.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Oh, my gosh. Carrie from Bay State Textiles, that might.
You gotta say your name again.
Bev, this one works well. Okay.
It's musical mics tonight. Here we go. Let's tap.
You're Tom Rousey, no.
They want me to have the one that doesn't work.
So thank you for having us here tonight. We have our boxes outside of the schools here in Peabody. So far, the program started in November of 2013. And so far, the town of Peabody, you have received $31,150 so far since the program started. And that's also individually broken down by the schools in itself. You guys get the spreadsheet. I can always send it to you later on for you guys to look at. So what my company does is we take the textiles that people don't want. Textile is any item made from a cloth or an artificial fabric like vinyl, shoes, clothing, pocketbooks, linens, stuffed animals. Every year in Massachusetts, nearly 250,000 tons of textiles are disposed of at incinerators and landfills, of which 95% can be reused or recycled. The country as a whole is only recycling 15% of textiles, costing taxpayers thousands of dollars in trash tipping fees. It takes 700 gallons of water to make one cotton t-shirt. Textiles that end up in the landfill take years to break down, causing the dye to leak into the groundwater. There is a healthy demand in the used clothing industry globally. Global markets want what Americans are wearing. And so we partner with schools and municipalities to spread awareness to the problem of unwanted textiles while generating revenue for the community. For so long, recycling was correlated to paper, cans, glass, aluminum, etc. The old way of thinking was that donations have to be in good condition with no rips, all the buttons, etc. Now it is time to condition residents that the good, the bad, and the ugly are all acceptable items as long as they are dry and not contaminated with hazardous material. There is an afterlife to 95% of unwanted textiles. A stained t-shirt can become a wiping cloth, a lone sock into pillow stuffing, old denim into household insulation, a teddy bear can become car seat stuffing, torn bath towel into a wiping cloth. The history of Bay State Textiles. Paul Curry is the president of Bay State Textiles, and he has over 25 years in the industry of exporting unwanted textiles. In the spring of 2012, he got together with the Weymouth and the Quincy, Mass. Public Schools and the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection to develop a solution to the problem of unwanted textiles, as well as recognizing the demand for used clothing in the global economy. Prior to the collaboration, the Mass DEP had done a solid waste study which determined that 6% of the waste stream was unwanted textiles. Bay State Textiles placed a donation box outside of each schools in Weymouth and Quincy, cross-branded the box with the school logo, and the box was serviced weekly. The driver had a hamper with a scale and would weigh the product as the box was emptied. Bay State Textiles tracked the weight and paid a rebate to the individual school, PTO in Quincy, and one check to the district in Weymouth on a monthly basis. After each pickup, an email would be sent to the district with the weights collected. Both programs proved to be a success, and Bay State Textiles mushroomed to partnering with over 60 school districts in under 5 years. Paul Curry saw a need for an expansion of the textile recovery outside of Massachusetts, so in the summer of 2014, Bay State Textiles opened a warehouse in Waterbury, Connecticut to bring the business model to Connecticut. Soon after opening in Waterbury, Connecticut, Paul opened Puerto Rico Textiles in Puerto Rico, taking the Massachusetts-based business model to collect unwanted textiles. How are recycled textiles used? We primarily export to Central and South America countries. 45% are reused, and they're exported to developed or underdeveloped countries. 30% are turned into wiping cloths, and 20% is fiber, which is processed back into fiber to turn into paper, yarn, insulation, or carpet padding. Exporting provides tens of thousands of jobs throughout 30-plus developing countries, resold to wholesalers and retailers, graded into categories, large percentage is ready to be retailed. What needs repair is also provides jobs. What is damaged beyond repair is broken down to wiping rags and again providing jobs. A small percentage is shipped to fiber mills where the material is shredded and reused and recycled into new material. How is recycling textiles helping the environment? It decreases the use of the natural resources, water from growing crops, decreases the need of chemicals used in manufacturing of new textiles, which helps fight pollution. Acceptable items, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Any textile item, even if it's worn, torn, or stained, can be recycled. Items simply need to be clean and dry, placed in a plastic bag to protect them on their journey to a second life. That's my presentation. Thank you, guys. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Now, I can tell you, the Bay State Textile reports are regularly in our packet, so we are usually in the know.
Oh, good.
So thank you for that.
Great.
I'll open it up if anyone has any comments or questions. Mrs. Dunn.
You can talk. I can hear you.
Thank you very much for coming, and I'm really impressed to realize that you came to Peabody right after the company started.
Yep.
In 2014.
2013, we got started with you guys in 2013, yeah.
2013,
Yep,
okay.
November of, actually, six years exactly, because it started in November of 2013, the program with you guys.
Well, I know it's been a really wonderful partnership with our schools. The PTOs have realized all that money. Peabody has been able to avoid tipping fees for that amount of weight in our trash. And so it's been very good for the environment as well. So it was a win-win because it saves on the tax dollars that we have to pay for the trash contract. So that's really a great benefit as well. And, you know, every PTO gets a check every month. And as Mr. Arnott said, we get a report
Right.
every month in our packet. And I also wanted to let you know and let everyone else know that there are members here from Green Peabody
Yep.
who came in support.
Thank
And
you.
to encourage the Bay State Textile Partnership, they've worked very closely together. You've been one of the original sponsors of the Green Fest, which has been a huge, huge benefit to the Green Peabody organization. Also, a nice partnership with the Brown School. We have a huge environmental group at that school. And it has really been a very, very good relationship. And I appreciate being able to have you come and talk to us about this. And thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it, and we love the support, and we love supporting Peabody. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hockman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think my reasoning for putting this on the agenda has been completely misconstrued. I have no objection to collecting textiles and keeping them out of landfills and the initiatives that Bay State Textiles has undertaken for us. The reason I asked for this to be on the agenda is that there's just other players in the arena. So I know that you're here through the chair talking about supporting Peabody, and other than, or let me, when we first agreed to allow Bay State Textiles to put boxes on school property, there was an agreement put in place where a percentage by weight of the money that Bay State Textiles was going to realize would be paid back to the PTOs, and you've honored that, and you've done a great job with that, and the PTOs have benefited from that. I'm not quarreling with that. But my question for you through the chair is, what else have you done for Peabody? What non-for-profits has Bay State Textiles donated money to? In other words, have there been any Little League organizations or basketball organizations or soccer organizations or any other youth sports or art programs that Bay State Textiles has donated any money to in the 6 years since you've partnered with Peabody to collect textiles?
Not that I know off the top of my head.
Okay. That was the reason for me putting this on the agenda. It's not to, I think Bay State Textiles has done what they agreed they were going to do when we partnered with them since 2013. But they haven't done anything beyond that. And we do have another player in this arena who has done more than that and is willing to do or provide the PTOs exactly what Bay State Textiles currently provides, and provide Green Peabody, of which I'm a founding member, with the services that Bay State Textiles provides. And the reason I asked for the Planet Aid organization to be put on our agenda is because they have, on their own initiative, donated to a program that I run, No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody. They've donated backpacks. They've probably donated several hundred backpacks to us on their own initiative, just taking the backpacks that they collect in bins wherever they collect them. I don't know where they come from. And we get a delivery of backpacks in a big bundle pretty much whenever we call. And I thought that that initiative was something that was worth rewarding. And Planet Aid provided a presentation similar to what you're talking about in regard to the benefits to the environment and the benefits to people in general, and that there are multiple uses for textiles that we may discard because we don't want them anymore for whatever reason. And that was really, it's not that you're doing a bad job. I'm not saying you're doing a bad job, and I'm thankful for what it is that you do. But at the time that your organization came to Peabody, there was no bidding process. We didn't look at any other providers or collectors of textiles or bins. And I just thought it was appropriate that we review this, and I'm happy that you're here and explaining what you do. Me asking for the replacement of the bins from Planet Aid to from Bay State Textiles to Planet Aid isn't because I want to see more textiles in landfills or because I want to damage the environment. It's because I'd like to see an organization that's willing to go beyond the bare bones of what they agreed to do to help Peabody residents, help Peabody students. When they're telling us, and Planet Aid told us in the spring when they presented to us, that they would honor the same terms that PTOs benefit from now from Bay State Textiles. And I don't know whether they spoke to Green Peabody. I'm happy Green Peabody's here. And there are friends of mine over there from Green Peabody who I think might have been given the wrong impression as to why I asked for this to be put on the agenda. That's it. All I'm saying is, if we're going to get apples from each organization, and then the other organization is willing to throw, some chocolate sauce on top of it, what's the harm? That's all I'm saying.
And so there's no other comments? Mrs. Dunn?
I'll be honest, I'm very glad that we had Bay State Textiles come in, and I know that was brought forward by the membership to be able to hear what they do. I don't think that we've never required any group to specifically donate to other groups in the city. That wasn't a requirement. Bay State Textiles may not have realized that, that donations were requested from other groups, or
Correct.
they wouldn't have had any knowledge of that. And the original motion, which had surprised me, I thought it was going to be, I was very surprised to find that the motion was to replace Bay State Textile with Planet Aid. And I'm glad that we've had the chance to hear about the relationship with the schools, with our community. And I think that as far as asking other groups to donate to others, that's a conversation for a totally different policy or requirement of anyone working with us. So I would like to see our relationship with Bay State Textiles continue, because they have been a good partner for the past 6 years.
And unfortunately, I don't own Bay State Textiles. I can't offer up anything, obviously, at this point, but I'm sure that's something that can be discussed.
Thank you. Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair, to Kerry, right?
Yes.
All right. Three things that you, thank you for being here, by the way. Appreciate it. Three things that you said. Take 700 gallons of water to make one T-shirt. I didn't know that. Did anyone else know that? I bet you there are about 1,300 kids in this building that don't know that.
Yep.
Or they might, because they're a lot smarter than I am. Clothing doesn't have to be in great shape.
Right.
Right? It can be torn.
Yeah.
And I just look at those things, and I think about the fact that we can increase our participation. And what I would offer and ask of Bay State is if there's any way we can partner up with our education or department and get you into these buildings to talk to students and train them and maybe have some marketing material
Absolutely.
to increase our participation. And I know the media's here, and I don't know how many people wouldn't know that 700 gallons of water make one T-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm baffled by that.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can, possibly increase participation,
Absolutely.
increase our revenue to our PTOs by doing so, I think it'd be a win-win. So,
Yeah, because a lot of
I-
people think too that everything has to be in perfect condition, or, we get calls all the time, are you sure I can put this, do I have to separate it? No, they can go in with regular clothes too. It's fine if the sheet has a tear in it and it's all good and, it doesn't need to be separated or anything like that. We'll accept it.
Sure. So, thank you very much again for being here. And if we can, at some point, set something up where
No,
you can come
absolutely.
in, or someone from your company can come
Absolutely.
in and talk to kids, and I think it'd be a great partnership.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Thank you.
More than happy to.
Thank you. Mr. Hockman?
Yeah, thank you. I'm not standing on my head on this one. I'm not looking to squeeze anybody for donations. All I wanted to do is reward a company that went above and beyond what I think anyone required of them, and give them an opportunity to do some business here in Peabody because of their initiative to reach out to local organizations that needed some help. If it's the will of the committee to keep Bay State Textiles, it's the will of the committee to keep Bay State Textiles. If I'm not asking Bay State Textiles to do more than what they have agreed to do. I'm just saying that an organization out there that does the same thing on their own initiative helped out in some programs here in Peabody, and I thought that was worthy of conversation.
Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you. If we could, I'd just like to recognize the chair and the vice chair of the Green Peabody. We have with us tonight, Marie Cavicchio.
I was going to get
You
there.
can do that. You go ahead. You get a microphone.
Come up and say it. No, I'm just kidding. I was actually, while we're on the subject, does anyone, first of all, do any committee members have any further questions for Carrie from Bay State Textiles? No. Thank you for joining us.
Carrie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
And while we're on the subject, I was going to invite up a representative or the chair and the vice chair of Green PB if they are interested in joining us. But there's no obligation to, so if you don't feel comfortable, you're not obligated.
I'm always comfortable to talk in front of a group. Where do you want me?
Right here. I'm like, right here.
Oh, wait, I can't read that because I don't have my glasses. Hi, my name
Hi.
is Rita Cavicchio. I am the co-chair of Green Peabody, and Jared's my neighbor and friend, yes. And Bev did ask us to come here to talk to you about Bay State Textiles. I've been involved in Green Peabody only for 2 years. And when I first learned about the Bay State Textile Program, which was actually brought to the mayor through the Brown School, Diane Bugler, I think, is the one that brought the program to the attention of the schools. I was just like so enthralled about this program, and I've been pushing it for really, for the whole 2 years that I've been working with Green Peabody. One of the things I want to point out about Carrie is that she's pretty new to Bay State Textiles, so she's coming in. I called her a week before Greenfest and asked her if she was coming to our Greenfest occasion, which we have every year, and she was like, where do I need to be? What do I need to bring? She's that kind of a go-getter. So, and she's new. She's only been with the company for a couple of months, or was only with the company a couple of months before having called her. So I think that there's opportunities to increase the program dramatically. And in fact, Councilor Rossignol just told me before the meeting started that there is some discussion of adding bins to other places besides the schools. But we love that it's part of the schools because it's an opportunity for parents and families to get involved with raising funds directly for those kids. This money does not get funneled through school committees and budgets. It goes directly to the school and to the kids. And that's what's important. And that is a huge selling point on the program because we can talk to the parents and reach out to them and say, this is a way for you to support your child and support your family in your particular school. So it's a great program. We're happy to work with the school and to work with Bay State or any other organization that you decide. But I think that there's opportunity there for us to expand it even further and really become an example to other cities in the state and possibly, in the other states as well. So that's my
Thank
piece.
you. Okay. So if there's any further discussion, we can have it now, but otherwise, we can take what we heard tonight and move on from there. Nope? Okay. Thank you. Okay. We're going to now move on to public. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to. Okay. We're now going to move on to public participation. And I'll invite anyone here who would like to speak to please join us. And I'm also just going to remind folks before we begin that the school committee, as our policy, is not to respond or engage, and the public participation at the school committee is pertinent to school issues. So having said that, I invite Councilor Rossignol to join us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, School Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding textiles, I'm also a member of Green Peabody. This discussion actually kind of reminds me of a few years ago when I was on the school board about FKO. And the process that we went through, the board was looking at other vendors because we didn't think that FKO was really providing the services that we thought. So we looked at outside services. And Mr. Hockman, to your credit, you stuck by FKO because they were what we have right now. And you said it with passion and empathy. And they came back to the table. We argued, ironed out our differences. And we still have FKO to this day, and they've been a great partner for the schools. I look at this in a similar manner. I think Bay State Textiles is a fantastic organization. And no, they don't publicize what they do outside of their benefit to the schools. But I can tell you on numerous occasions they've picked up at a moment's notice. They've paid timely. They've paid ahead of time when there was a need by a PTO. They have a AAA rating from the Better Business Bureau. And as far as Planet Aid goes, now I do not know the owner-occupier from Planet Aid in this current market, but just as a point of reference, the American Institute of Philanthropy Charity Watch Group has given the organization of Planet Aid an F rating in its charitable spendings. And it goes on and on as far as its reputation and its finances. So me personally, I'd rather stick with a company that has grown with us as a city, with a company that is willing and able to do anything that we ask, and a company that I have 100% faith in. To that point, one of the recommendations that Green Peabody has tried to develop is, and Rita had mentioned it earlier, is expanding their bins to encompass some city places and having that money go to Green Peabody and then be able to fund more things in the school through either the Healthy Peabody Collaborative or through Sharon Cameron's office at City Hall. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think changing from the current vendor, which is Bay State Textiles, to Planet Aid would be a vital mistake. Lastly, and I know you don't have to comment, and nor should you, my fear, to be honest with you, if as Mr. Hockman just mentioned, you're taking backpacks from a bin and you're putting food in it for our students, I'm just going to leave that right there. All right, thank you.
Mr. Rosignol, just I should have asked, could you provide your address for the record?
My Tom Rosignol, 14 Rutledge Road, Peabody, Mass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Microphone is open.
Hi,
Hi, Mrs. Millard.
I'm Cheryl Millard, 148 Shore Drive in Peabody. Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Mertag,
Good evening.
Chairman, school committee members. I'm a married mother of 4 great young adults. 3 of them happen to be here tonight. I'm grandmother to 11 and have been an active member in the community of Peabody since for about the last 41 years. In the past, my volunteering has included being a member of the Center School PTO, Title I representative for the Center School, St. John's Religious Ed Program volunteer, PTO co-president of the Center School, the assistant coach of Peabody Soccer, the assistant coach of Peabody Little League Baseball. Also, I was a member of the citywide Centennial Float Committee Parade group. I am currently on the Board of Management for the Sutton Residence for Women, which is located on Sewell Street in Peabody. I've been a member of the Peabody Garden Club for 5 years. I'm an appointed member of the Peabody Historical Commission. I'm committee chair of the Alex Vitale Memorial Park, which is by Brooksby Farms, and I'm an active member, volunteer of the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program. Included in all that is the thousands of pictures that I take at numerous events, functions that take place around the city that showcase our Peabody pride. This takes me thousands of hours to edit each picture. They get posted on social media, and I try to tag as many people as possible. All of this is at no charge. I am here before the board to speak about a disturbing text that I received on Thursday, November 7th by one of the current school committee members. My 10-year-old grandson Joey and I have been volunteering for the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program for the past 18 months. The Evans Flower and Greenhouse business had posted a sign that they were looking for food donations and volunteers to help with the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program. The Felds, who are the owners of Evans, had seen this program while down in Florida and brought this idea and passion to help feed the children of Peabody. This program was run out of their store until more space was needed. Over the last 18 months, my grandson and I have gone almost every Thursday to help set up with the food items and then to pack up to 350 backpacks a week. Pictures were taken by me and posted on social media requesting food donations and any gently used backpacks. For my birthday this past March, I requested backpacks and food donations, of which I received over 75 backpacks, food, snacks, and juice boxes to donate. On November 7th, my grandson and I went to the Haven as per usual on our Thursday afternoons and helped pack over 300 backpacks with other volunteers. There was a garden club meeting that evening. I didn't get home until about 9:30. I was quite shocked and dismayed to check my phone and read this text. Am I allowed to read this with no names?
Motion to receive.
Due to the manner in which you have acted recently, I have no desire to be anywhere near you. You are no longer welcome at the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody, so do not appear on the days that we fill backpacks in the future. There is no reason for you to respond to this text as I have nothing further to say to you. This message does not explain my actions, yet I'm not allowed to ask. The message has nothing to do with our volunteering to help to feed over 300 school children on weekends. It's more about the sender, and this is a personal attack on me and my grandson. The program had the approval and was voted on by the school committee. It is a much-needed community, it is much needed in our community and helps many, many struggling families. I am not here today to tarnish the good things that have happened since the inception of the backpack program, but to let you know of the pettiness of one man, an elected official who didn't start this program, nor does he own the building. But he banned 2 dedicated volunteers, one of which is a child, trying to help other children by being involved. For the last 3 weeks, I have internalized as to what to do and have sought the counsel and advice of family and friends. I come before you today to tell my side, my hurt and disappointment of being treated like this. I come before you to stand up, to speak up. I won't be silenced. And I won't be banned from a program that we were so passionate about because of hurt feelings and somebody can't play nice. For Joey and I, it was always about helping the children. We were never there for this school committee member. He needs to be reminded that we were there to help the children. The ball is in your court, school committee members. I am not a politician, I am a private citizen, and I do not have the time or energy to spend on this childish behavior. I am releasing and cleansing this terrible episode from my mind and soul and giving it to you to deal with. You have been made aware that there's an issue that goes beyond me. My grandson, you are his peers. I thank you for your time in listening about this one person's continued behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Millard. If there is anyone else who would like to speak at public participation, now would be the time to do that. Okay. Otherwise, we will close the public participation portion of this meeting, and we will now move forward to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Arnottis. Tonight, we have a field trip in front of you, Peabody Veterans Memorial High School Drama Club to New York City on April 22nd to April 24th, 2020. With your approval,
We need a motion. Mrs. Dunn?
Motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Abstain?
Yes.
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 also in your packet tonight, you have a monthly hiring status report. If any questions, Mr. Farrell is here this evening. Oh, no, he's not. Don't know where he went. If you have any questions, let me know. I do have a couple more things on that aren't listed. I just have to congratulate, I'm just so proud of the Performing Arts Program under Stephanie Racine, under the leadership of Stephanie Racine and many, many others. The Addams Family production was incredible. We have so much talent in our district, and I just want to congratulate all of them. Also, I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving coming up. Spend time with your family and loved ones, and enjoy the time with them. And that is it for now.
All right, we will move on to subcommittee reports. Education Subcommittee. Mrs.
No
Dunn.
report at this time.
Oh, sorry. Finance Subcommittee, Mrs. Carpenter.
Nothing to report.
School Safety.
Nothing new to report.
Athletics and Wellness.
Nothing to report.
Quality and Standards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have before all of you, it was in our packet, the student driver permission form. This has been completed, as you'll note on page 2. We included the language that was brought forth at the last school committee meeting. It's number 5. And this evening, we had a Quality and Standards Subcommittee meeting prior to the school committee meeting. And it was the opinion of the members of the subcommittee, we'd like that language on number 5 to stay in italics because it is a bit different than the rest of the form, and it's directing an additional student as a passenger.
Read it again.
So it is, number 5, if the student driver is allowed by law to transport passengers, said passengers must also file signed parental authorization for such transportation arrangements and place this on record with the Peabody Public Schools. So I would like to make a motion that this student driver permission form be accepted for second reading. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Dunn, seconded by Mr. Hoffman. We're going to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. The second policy, which is before you, this is for a first reading, and it is the policy regarding confiscation of contraband. This was reviewed by our legal counsel as well, and the language states, it is the policy of the Peabody Public Schools that all contraband collected or seized by school administration, including but not limited to weapons, drug, and/or tobacco instruments of delivery, illegal drugs and/or tobacco products, shall not be returned to students, parents, or guardians, and will be turned over to local law enforcement authorities for appropriate disposal and/or further action. This policy shall also be included in the parent-student handbooks for all grade levels. So I would like to make a motion that this policy be received this evening for first reading. So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Ms. Dunn. Thank you for providing this policy. I wasn't able to attend Quality and Standards today, and I did intend to call you prior to this meeting, but I ran out of time. The only, and it's splitting hairs, it's really splitting hairs, but the word will and the last word in the third line, I would just like to see change to shall to make it obligatory, because I don't think that the school department should be holding on to the personal property. And as long as we hand it over to the police and let them disseminate with it as they will.
And shall is mandatory, so I will amend it to say shall.
Okay.
That would change will on the end of the the last word in the third line to shall.
All right. I believe we're going to hold the third item and
Could
move
we have
on
a-
to...
Could we have a vote? Roll
Oh,
call on this
sorry.
one.
Roll
Sorry.
call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. On the agenda, there was a policy regarding bicycle rider safety and responsibility, and the committee members felt that this needed to be held for the next meeting. So we're going to push it onto the next agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Carpenter.
Thank you. While we're on quality and standards, I would like to make a motion to refer to Mrs. Dunn's committee to take up the issue of what authority the school committee has in regards to volunteers in our system, that any outside organization that provides services to our children. I'd like to know what authority we have and how we vet our volunteers and the policies that follow that. And I would like to just thank Mrs. Millard for coming and let you know personally if you have any other services to donate to the Peabody school system. I would greatly appreciate them. That's a motion.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Hoffman.
Sure, on the motion, through you to Ms. Carpenter, are you asking for people that volunteer or work for all organizations that provide services to the students at Peabody Public Schools?
Yes, I would like to know what our policy is and how we vet them and what authority we give to which volunteers are allowed and which are not.
Including FKO
Yes,
and DCF
yes.
and Haven from Hunger
Mhm.
and Citizens Inn,
They would include everyone.
everyone.
Yes. I believe FKO, I mean, we query everyone that comes in for FKO. We do background checks on everyone. I just want to know how that policy pertains to all other organizations that we allow to service our children.
Through the chair, so I'm a little unclear. You're asking about the procedures that we go through to determine who's going to volunteer? Or if the school committee has authority to tell a private organization who must volunteer?
Correct, and what the authority would be to allow someone to volunteer or not allow them to volunteer. If there's some criteria that we're following, is it a blanket criteria? Is everyone following it, or can we just decide certain organizations can do it and others cannot? I want to be clear on how we're handling that for everyone.
And that includes PTOs and everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
On the motion? Roll call vote?
No.
Yes.
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 Mrs. Dunn, on the motion, you just let me know when you put that in your committee. I'd be happy to attend, and I'm not on that committee, but I'd be happy to join.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Liaison to parent and student advisory boards.
The Parent Advisory Board held a meeting Thursday evening, and we had representatives from 6 of the schools. The topics discussed were food services, the safe routes to school, the reinvigoration of the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School, PTSO, and it was a great meeting. It really was. There was a lot accomplished. The members would like to have a presentation again, as they have in the past with Miss Maureen Rose from Food Services, just to go over a lot of the details of lunch versus a la carte and at what level that starts, and just talking about menus. The Safe Routes to School, the woman who is our contact has offered again to come out and speak with the parents, and this has been something we tried to schedule last year and couldn't. And I met with her again this year down at the conference. But one of the best parts was we heard a report from the center school representative about the walking school bus and how much fun it was, and how the center school community really got into the spirit of it, and that our first responders, the police and fire, showed up. So the kids had an escort to the school on their walk, and they also had a beautiful balloon arch when they got to the school. It was really done up right to encourage people to walk. And for those who don't know what it is, it's students meet an adult who's been vetted by the school, who will walk with them, and they pick up passengers as they go along the walking route. So at specific corners, families would meet, hop on the line, and everyone walk to school together. It's a really great program, and it's nice because it encourages good, healthy habits about walking to school. It's to try to get people out of the car, into the fresh air, but also to be very safe. So that representative is going to come out and speak to a parent advisory board meeting, and we'll make sure that we invite everyone and the PTOs, and I think it'll be an interesting, a very enjoyable presentation. Her materials are really good. She had given me a sample bag that she distributes to the school. It has a spray paint with a template, so you can put signs on the sidewalk of the walking school bus. It's really nice. It doesn't have tires, it has feet. It's very distinct. Perfect for elementary school students. And she also has a program she'd be willing to bring forward for the middle school students as well. And I know she's reached out to Ms. Murtag and the principals as well. So I think it's going to be a nice program going forward. Talking about it now, getting it in place, getting ready for spring. It's really a very timely effort at this moment, and I think it'll be enjoyable. So the parents were very encouraged by that, and with the PTSO, they were very happy to hear about that as well, and you'll be hearing more about that. Thanks to Dr. Lord and the Culture Committee at the high school for seeking out membership for parent-teacher-student organization again. It's going to be a really wonderful addition at the high school, and they've already got some great ideas on that. So our next Parent Advisory Board meeting will be Wednesday, I want to say it's December 18th. And it's tentative. Is it Thursday? I can't remember. I can't remember. And Naomi was the baker at the meeting, and it was phenomenal. So if you want to come to a good meeting, definitely, we're going to have you cook again. Now, it's on air, you've got to. I will check the date, though, but it's either Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll let you know. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you.
Building and Grounds.
Nothing
Mr.
to
Amico.
report at this
Nothing.
time.
Special Education Parent Advisory Board, Mr. Olympio.
Yes, we met on November 13th. I believe that was a Wednesday, and it was a good turnout. We discussed a variety of topics, the Wilson program, certified 3D training, general administration issues. A couple of concerns that parents, have is the transition from elementary to the middle school and middle school to the high school. So, during the course of the year, I like to meet with Ms. Chioda to discuss any way that we can make the transition a lot easier and soothing to students and parents. So that's one of the concerns they had. Then another concern they had was consistency with the communication logs in various schools. Just sometimes the communication logs aren't being filled out by the teachers, and that was a concern to some of the parents. But overall, it was a great meeting, and also too, another thing they were asking about is maybe some type of Best Buddies program, maybe at the Higgins or something to that effect, to help some of these special education students. And our next meeting, I'll probably post sometime in the middle of December. Thank you.
All right, and there is nothing to report for the liaison to City Council legislative delegation, and now we are going to move on to new business. Leap for Education, Inc., Mr. Olympio.
Yes. So I believe it was last Friday, I took a field trip to Salem, and I met with Linda Saris and one of my old law school professors, Connie Rudnick. They're very involved with the LEAP Foundation that currently, what it is, basically, if people don't know, it's a college success program. And currently, we have 68 students at the high school, well, not 68 students at the high school and that are also in college that went through Peabody High that are enrolled in this program. We have 15 juniors, 17 high school seniors. We have 10 college freshmen, 16 college sophomores, and 10 college juniors and seniors. And what it is, it's a program geared towards, it's a great program for low-income students, first-generation students. And what it does is their junior year in high school, for instance, they'll meet 2.5 hours a week at the high school, and it's a course on how to prepare for the SATs, how to apply for early scholarships, how to participate in job opportunity, shadowing programs. High school seniors, they meet 4 hours a week, and it's a nice workshop on how to fill out college, financial, and scholarship applications. Just great tools for these students. And then it also continues while they're in college. They can call in, set up meetings on a weekly, a monthly basis. So just a great support for these students. It's just a wonderful program. And then it continues even after college. They have career servicing workshops where they'll set up networking events and things like that with local businesses. So it's just a wonderful thing. And a couple of things they wanted me to promote was January 14th, they're having a social at 5 o'clock, Eastern Bank on Foster Street. And they're looking for corporate sponsors for their gala on April 2nd. So, and I know that's our student government night, which is too bad. But again, it's just a wonderful program for these students. I didn't know if I'd like to bring more awareness to this program within the community, but just a wonderful program for students that that just need, some extra help in certain areas, and certainly parents that aren't familiar with the college process. So just a wonderful program.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio. That's fantastic. Mr. Amico.
Great, through the chair to Mr. Olympio. Mr. Olympio, is this a free service?
Yes, it is, and that's,
Okay. And the reason why I say that is I know of college recruiting companies that charge large sums of dollars to help kids get into colleges, and I don't think they provide that type of support after the fact. Is there, again, through the chair, is there any way we can get this group in before us to do a presentation, maybe to give us some more information so we can...
At some point, I'll speak with the superintendent, but at some point, I believe they spoke about 4 years ago.
They did.
And so I promised them I'd refresh the new committee members with a presentation. But certainly, it is free, and it's just, again, it's a wonderful service. And they've been around since 2002, and they have services, I believe they service Salem, Lynn, and eventually they'd like to get, maybe work a program into the Higgins at some point in the near future. So, again, just a wonderful opportunity. I was glad that they reached out to me, and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio.
Thank you.
Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Olympio, I am really glad you gave us that report because as you were talking, I remember the presentation from LEAP. And hearing what they do and the numbers of students that they help now, this was really very informative and I'm very glad to hear about that, because when they first came in, I honestly didn't quite understand what they were going to do. I knew it was going to be good, but those students involved really are benefiting from it. I think that's wonderful.
I see him every day. Right in my office.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd like to continue to share.
Everyone's loving this.
Yeah, LEAP, I met with them as well this year in my office, Linda Saris, and she brought 3 others. They also are up at the high school I'm going to visit right after the holidays. They've invited me up, and they do at some point want to bring the Higgins into it, and Mr. Busey is looking at that information. So it's currently all out there, but Mr. Olympio, thank you for going and meeting with them. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. All other business will be handled in the proper course, and thank you. Do we have a motion?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.